Coming up on Valley News Live at 6, the complaint file reveals new information. What caused the former West Fargo assistant police chief to exit the department?
The treatment a local doctor says could be what COVID long haulers have been waiting for.
Plus, how much an accused gunman paid to get out of jail. Valley News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 6.
We begin with breaking news on this Tuesday evening as Valley News Live has obtained the internal investigation of former West Fargo Assistant Police Chief Jerry Boyer.
Boyer stepped down effective October 1st, but he was placed on paid administrative leave on August 19th.
Valley News Live crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley has been digging through all 251 pages of the investigation. She joins us live in the studio to break down what she found. Bailey?
Yeah, Mike, Stacy, most of Boyer's internal investigation stems from an email he sent to the entire department on April 23rd. That was just 3 days after the Derek Chauvin verdict. In the email, Boyer titled it, quote, "Why Keep Coming?" where he talked to the department about current world events surrounding the treatment of law enforcement that he said, quote, "quite frankly, pisses me off." The investigation shows Boyer didn't run the email by Chief Dennis Otternis, who later told Boyer he had grave concerns about Boyer's ability to lead the department and could have a detrimental impact on the department's morale. Many other officers stated they felt Boyer's email undermined and was insubordinate of Chief Otternis. Now, the investigation also goes on to detail Boyer's unprofessional behavior of, quote, belittling, gossiping, and embarrassing other employees, as well as refusing to or failing to perform assigned duties. Stacy.
Thanks, Bailey. We're working to get the full investigation on our VNL News app. Some changes coming in the forecast, but it's not looking like tonight. Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joins us with a first look. Hutch?
Indeed, yeah, the wind is still out there, fairly breezy with gusts over 25 miles per hour for some of us as the sun gets ready to set on our day. View from our home of economy camera in Grand Forks. Here is a look at the wind speeds. They're strongest in the James River Valley, gusts over 20 miles per hour there, and in the Devil's Lake Basin. Starting to become less gusty here in the valley and points east. Clear skies and temperatures that are on that warm side. Where you see the red colors here, we have 80s from the Red River Valley and points west, 90s still in the western Dakotas. Your planning forecast tonight, breezy, although not as gusty. We'll still have winds sustained at 15 to 25 miles per hour. We stay in the 60s all the way into your wee morning hours. That's the same thing in Grand Forks. That wind helping to keep things stirred up, and that wind will bring some change later in the week. I'll detail our next chance of rain in your forecast here in just a few moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
An accused murderer is out on the streets tonight after bailing out of jail. Idris Haji Mohammed is charged with second-degree murder with intent for the September 10th shooting death of Abdi Abdi. Court documents show he obtained a $1 million bond from Midwest Bonding LLC. He was released from the Clay County Jail. Haji Mohammed was arrested 3 days after the shooting. Authorities say he chased the victim through a parking lot, shooting at him more than 10 times. A treatment widely used on scuba divers for decompression sickness could help those who just can't shake the difficult symptoms associated with COVID-19. The treatment, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, is where a patient is placed in a chamber and exposed to 100% oxygen with an increased pressure for an hour. Dr. Alan Lustro says the high levels of oxygen will shut off the body's inflammatory response, which allows tissues to heal.
I have yet to see somebody that says it hasn't improved their symptoms for COVID.
COVID-19 is not an FDA-approved indicator for hyperbaric's oxygen therapy, and it is not covered by insurance. It would cost patients $250 out of their pocket per treatment.
Another report of increased COVID-19 cases puts pressure on Sanford. The hospitalization rate in North Dakota has been climbing since July. That has hospitals operating at capacity and, in some cases, transferring patients to other hospitals for treatment. Sanford Vice President Dr. Doug Griffin sheds light on how staff is holding up 18 months into the pandemic.
Nurses that are working extended shifts. You'd be doctors that have gone, a few weeks without a day off, perhaps. And so what we're concerned about is that resiliency, people just not being able to sustain that.
At this time, Sanford has 170 people hospitalized with COVID-19. 44 are being treated in the ICU. 32 are on ventilators. You can see the portion of vaccinated patients versus unvaccinated patients there. For information on where you could get a COVID vaccine, just head to our website, valleynewslive.com.
A group in North Dakota has called on schools to offer paid COVID leave. North Dakota United, it's the state's largest professional association of public educators and employees, is urging school districts to use SR funds to provide paid leave to teachers and staff. The group says that the funds could support teachers who need to quarantine or stay at home due to a positive COVID test or a close contact. The president of United North Dakota, Nick Archuleta, says that in part they work in environments where students are not vaccinated. Teachers are at the risk of contracting the Delta variant of the coronavirus.
We're still receiving calls from some DirecTV customers who are having a reception problem with the Channel 11 signal. DirecTV continues to tell us their equipment is not properly receiving our signal. We're working with them to get the issue fixed.
Later on Valley News Live at 6, fewer women than men invest their money. Later, the reasons behind the difference and ways for anyone to get started.
Breezy but way above average once again. Our sunrise this morning was a beauty and a dandy setting sun today. Speaking of which, warm weather continues but big changes before the week ends. All details on that next chance of rain right after this.